Here we are with this. Daniel's in the room here with me, so I cannot list specific details.
Well, don't worry.
but,
Everyone can see it on screen, but go ahead.
Yeah, everybody can see it. Oh, and I can see that we are live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. What is up, my guys?
Don't get on that YouTube stream. That's
you guys probably have a delay on it, probably, right?
Think so.
Or did you guys not set that up?
Actually, my friend Tatiana wanted to see where can I send the link for the.
So it appears you go to North Shore Youth Corps on YouTube, and
Okay. Thank you.
I can get you the link, Natalia. Don't worry. Alex here, sitting.
Yes, sir. I am here sitting.
And we'll see if he takes it down. Wow. As you can see, our events are fairly casual, but thank you for joining us on the mic here, Alex. We're gonna let you go. We're gonna keep listening into some of your conversations, but for the most part, you'll be free of my ears. Okay, Sarah takes it down. And Alex, thank you for joining us really briefly, and we hope to see you in the booth later if you bust, or for you to just win the whole thing. All right, take care, dude.
For sure. Take care, guys.
And just as we say that, Sarah's got queens here. Elias has ace queen.
So, Natalia, how are you doing currently?
I'm doing good. Yes.
And a call from Sarah here. Just flats. Ace queen versus queens. Sarah checks. On this board, what is Elias going to do? He decides to check it. If the queen comes, that could be really scary. Sarah does bet out. Queens over tens, and I don't see Elias folding here. She's got queens. Elias down to 1,400. King, queen, ace 10 suited, fives and tens. What a massive cooler hand. Let's see if we can listen to him. Let's see if
Recover and then your leg feels better after some days, and that's it.
What?
Yeah.
Alex not sharing anything right now.
You have to ice it.
Wow.
And, try not to just mess it up completely.
And fives leads out here. And just want to let Natalia know, by the way, I have shared with you the link to your messenger. Wow. And tens just lost. Danny has the king high flush now. Over and over pair. Danny bets just 36. That's small enough. Sarah might call here. Alex might feel inclined to raise. No, he just calls. Wow, and that will kill the action here. Alex getting very lucky, probably would have lost a lot more money if Danny had put in a much more sizable bet on that turn. Danny still bets out, going for very thin value. I don't see how Sarah can find a call here. Oh, she raises! What a raise! And Danny has a serious decision. Danny shoves. This is a bluff? No, and she folds. What a bluff there. Danny deciding that, you know what, Sarah, I don't think that you have a house. Danny was ready to go home and go broke. I don't know what he was doing, but he clearly must have recognized, you know what, he doesn't think Sarah had a 4. Doesn't think she had an 8. She did lead out. So he decided to put it all in there with the king high flush, despite the it being out there. And I am so shocked. What a play by Sarah. But Danny deciding, you know what, he's not losing this hand. A house for Voss. Natalia leads out. He's just going to call. Another lead out for 12. Voss practically the nuts. He raises here, and I don't think Natalia really wants to call here. Nope. Voss just can't find value. Flopping a house. Ace 10 versus kings, though. And with Voss and Danny, these are not very passive players. And Voss just flats. And that might save him some chips here. I don't think that he's going to be continuing with ace 10 that often on this board. Danny with the kings. Aces versus jacks. Oh, aces versus jacks. Wow, and the fact that Natalia might not go broke here is insane. Voss gonna size up, and Natalia is not even contemplating a raise. She does have 2 jacks here. That's very strong. Oh, and that's going to save her some chips. Voss might not even bet on this board. Wow, this is the type of hand that should get it. Matt, he goes for value, and he does get called. Good value by Voss. Wow. Big hand. Voss with the aces. King Jack for Natalia. 7-4. A 7 does have an open ender here. Fives makes the call. That's a bit of a thin call there from Alex. And Elias decides to flat as well. Oh, and the call. Sarah, I think, was going for a bluff there. Did not work. All right. We have a bit of a breather hand. A few crazy hands coming in the last few minutes.
I'm going to focus.
Nothing from our contestants right now. Boss with the 9-8 decides a flat. Sarah with the ace-jack suited decides a flat. 4-5 suited for Elias also decide to flat. Oh, top pair versus middle pair. Boss really doesn't have anything here. Don't know what he's thinking about. Oh, he does go for a bet, but I don't think it's going to work. She goes for the min raise. That is odd. Is Elias contemplating? No, he contemplated a flop 3-bet. Oh, and Voss does have himself in some trouble here. Six, 5 off. And a flat. Three, Alex bets. Fold by Sarah. Alex gets it through. Threes do have some value, but it's more of a semi bluff than anything there. Sarah decides to flat. She flops bottom pair, but Alex flops top pair. Backdoor flush draw for Natalia, along with the backdoor straight draw, multiple actually. Any 10 will give her a double gutter. That might be a better card for her though. Spade. Alex may not want to bet on that spade. He does though for third pot. Natalia getting a fair price to draw to her flush. And a good fold. Sarah adjusting pretty quickly to this field. Natalia decides to check. No, does not go for the value. Does not go for the bluff. Alex with 8-4 offsuit. And he decides to fold. Natalia with queen 10 suited. It's a call. Voss with the 7-8. Sarah with the king 10. Wow, and we have a pair and a gut shot along with two top pairs, and Sarah is going to lead out here. A call from everyone, and the flush comes in. What a brutal card. Wow, Natalia just snap calls, does not raise, and a straight. Oh my goodness. A straight. And Natalia's got a flush, and she's got to raise this. Oh, and Sarah raises it, and Natalia just calls, and just a call. Natalia could have gotten it in against Voss so well. She does not. Brutal spot for Voss there, but he doesn't lose the maximum. Ace 3 offsuit for Sarah. She opens. Wow. a set for Elias, and a 3 could spell a disaster here for Sarah. Top pair for Voss and Elias. Let's see if he finds the wherewithal to check this. Be an insane check. I think he does have to bet. He does. And Voss probably also forced to call here with King 10. It was not a limped pot. Voss contemplating a decision. He's thinking. And that's the thing. Elias is a generally tight player. He's not going to be betting out to 3 other players as a bluff that often. So what is he leading into him for this sizing? Elias does have some bluffs in his range. Voss might not want to call it down here with the King 10. He might actually prefer to have something like Ace 10 here blocking some straight draws. On the other hand, he's not actually. Wow, and he finds the fold! What is that? What is that? Voss playing out of his mind here after he gets raised, and then the call behind, he does not raise with the straight, and then he does not call top pair here. Elias just not able to find a check. If he found that check on the turn, probably would have gotten paid for 2 streets of value there. Elias might not have been targeting Voss. It's hard to expect Voss is going to show up with a 10 there. Definitely doesn't have a 7. Ace 4 suited for Sarah. She raises to 3x. And she flops. She flops the nut flush draw. No one else has anything. When she c-bets on this, though, I can't expect many people will call. The Jack of Diamonds would be really... Oh, no, Alex holds the Jack of Diamonds. Wow, and she checks with the flush draw. And now Danny has top pair. Sarah tried to play tricky. She is a bit of a shorter stack. She may be looking to get in. The goal is to be the number 1 or the number 2 spot. So hanging around doesn't do much. And she hits the ace. Danny is not going to be able to really bet here that often. Sarah's just got so many ace highs. She does bet. She probably will get paid off, but it's only for a big blind. With all that equity, she decided not to barrel. She would have won a larger pot. Or had it folded to her already. They all got to see her play the ace 4 suited that way. A6 offsuit for Voss. Let's see what he does here. He is in early position. He decides to flat it. Natalia also flats. Elias just checks. Top pair for Sarah. A6 for both Voss and Natalia. They're blocking each other's outs. Sarah decides to bet out into this. Nice little value bet there on the end. Sarah with above 1,000 again. Sarah folds her 4-6 offsuit. Said she was offline briefly. I assume, though, that is false considering she's back online now. No one with the king. Elias is the best of it. Everyone's in here but Danny in the small blind. Elias might try to get everyone off this right here. He does, correctly sussing out that no one has a king. However, Natalia has bottom pair and a flush draw. It will be extraordinarily difficult for her to fold, and it's pretty likely actually that she'll win the hand. Right now, it's at best a coin flip. She decides to fold it. Wow. Interpreting Elias's bet as big strength. Oh, queens versus king queen suited versus king jack. And let's see if Danny just calls here. He does. Natalia in between. Oh my goodness, no. Top pair for Danny. Top 2 pair for Sarah. And Alex's queens. No, this is not right. The call, and Sarah's just got top 2. I mean, oh, and she folds. No, how can you fold top 2? Oh my goodness, a big pot. She thought Danny had something mega strong. Flush draw did come in on the turn. Alex going for value. I wonder if Danny's thinking that he has an overpair. And he does call. Big pot for Alex. Getting very lucky that Sarah, they overvalued their hands and Sarah decided to fold Jack 8. I don't see how you can fold Jack 8 there. Wow, big moment. That was the moment for Sarah to stack. Maybe both of them. Probably Alex. I don't see how Alex can fold. And Talia folds. Wow. And Sarah with 1,000, probably very upset that she sees that she would have had the best of it. Alex with queens again. And Danny went from being the big stack to just another stack at the table, though still in second place. Alex going to race her with queens. See if I could hear Alex's reaction.
And so, we played in church and we actually took a service once. Before
Nice.
that.
Alex has nothing to say about the hand. He does have a lot to say, however, about some of his musical practices inside the church. Sarah with the nut flush draw. Alex checks, and see Sarah also checks. Alex might go for some thin value. I don't think Sarah can call here. She might, though. She does have a good bluff catcher here. She does try to bluff catch. Alex takes it down with queens. Nice little value bet there. Danny raises. His brother on the button. Right now, Danny and Alex are very even in chips overall in the league, but winning this event, as they're both the big stacks right now, so technically the favorites, but winning this event would be massive for them in terms of being able to go to the main event for free, which I'm sure they're planning on entering anyway. It's a 5K buy-in into our main event happening at the end of December. So being able to buy into a tournament like that for free would absolutely help them in their chances of winning the league. Elias, he's a King Jack 10 flop with Ace 8 offsuit. He might get lucky, and Natalia might just take this to showdown. Wow. And Elias might fold the Ace 8 here, even though he's getting such a good price. He's contemplating it. He does call. See if Natalia can find a big bluff here. She does not go for a big bluff. Goes for more of a blocker bet with ace high, but she does get the job done. Elias folds one pair. Natalia finding the thinnest of bluffs here. Alex decides to fold the queen 3 offsuit. Elias with the 4-8 suited. Decides to flat. Danny with the 10-3 offsuit. Sarah with the open ender. No one has a heart. Everyone checks. Nothing doing there. Middle pair for Elias. And he now has the best hand. No queen, no jack, and Elias has pretty much the best hand unless someone flopped a flush. It's going to be hard for someone to flop the flush and not bet it. So Elias will get 80 chips right there. Small pot. And as it's still early, people hesitant to really get chips in there. Right now, Alex is playing 100 big blinds effective. The small stack is still playing 50 big blinds effective. That's Sarah. Gutter ball for Voss. Oh, 10s for Alex. In early position. It's tough to be able to open with it. He just flats. That's an interesting strategy. But see, that's the thing. It's hard to open with 10s in early position. So even though 10s is considered very much a premium hand, he may not want to play it out of position so strongly. And now he will actually get some value here. Sarah with ace-8. I don't see Alex in fold. I think actually he might put in a raise. If he gets it all in with Sarah here, I wouldn't be surprised. He just flats, though. Well, no, I know Alex has to put in a bet here. He does. Sarah's not going to fold. Oh, and houses for the both of them. That is not okay. She leads for 80. And Alex raises. Sarah going to jam here. Just a pair of 8s. Alex has played this so trickily. Wow. And we'll see what Alex is going to do. Is he just going to call? Is he going to shove? He's contemplating both decisions. Wow, a bit of cooler. And he does shove. I don't think Sarah can fold. She's thinking about it. Oh my God. She does call. Brutal spot for Sarah. And Alex's tricky play pays off there. That is brutal way to go. Boat over boat. Wow. That was brutal. And Alex now with a commanding chip lead. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens when you find that flat pre-flop. If Alex had opened raise, that's a pretty strong raise. And he might not be able to get all the chips in later with a strong hand, like a boat there. But by allowing others to catch up, he still had an overpair by the time the river came. And Sarah is just not going to fold a boat in that spot with the way Alex played it. Looks like he could have an 8 as well. Sarah goes ahead, calls off the shove. Big spot. Big spot there. Very nicely played by Alex in that particular hand. It worked out for him. That's it's pretty brutal spot there. Takes away a lot of the sixes that Alex could have flatting there. It's part of the way. I think just playing it tight post pre-flop allows him to get it in for stacks post-flop, and he ends up stacking Sarah there for what is effectively on 100 big blind pot. And only Natalia actually has even half of what he has. Danny was just slightly over half. Well, it seems that we will be able to have Sarah perhaps join us really briefly for an interview. Big spot there for. Oh, and Alex flops a set. He's flopping everything tonight. Dear goodness gracious. Voss, however, only has 3-9. He's not going to be getting in here. Alex is going to hope, but no, Voss not going to find it. Aces for Alex. He is hitting everything tonight. It is his night. Jack 9 does not hit. He had hit a pair. That could have been curtains. Curtains for Voss. Ace Queen for Alex over here. Shocking run of hands, but he's not able to get paid off. Ace Jack suited for Elias. Danny with Ace King. 3-bet by Elias, and Danny has Ace King. I'm surprised he didn't just get it in there. Just a check. Elias might go ahead and put in a bet. Nope. Nothing here. And Elias might just take the showdown value. See if he finds a bluff. He does. Big bluff. Oh, and a call by Danny. What a big call with the Ace King. Finds a great call there by Danny. And I agree, he really can't fold Ace King in that spot, but it's just so surprising. Queen Jack suited. Voss is the best hand. Let's see. He does c-bet. See if Alex decides to continue. Won't comment right now. I really do want to comment. Elias is left with 943. I don't see Alex folding here. You might with the King 10. It's hard though. He flatted it. Wow, and a fold by Alex. Danny with the jack deuce off, folds. Voss with 3-4 suited against Alex. Might go either way here. Just flats. Alex decides to fold. He was not going to play out of position with that hand. Just surprising blind versus blind. Natalia with 10-4 suited. Checks it over. Voss with the overbet actually decides to get it in there. Takes it down. Danny going offline here with the queen 10. I mean, it's not necessarily a smart open. Oh, he does get back online. He does flat. Voss with the 7-9 offsuit might be inclined to flat, but there's lots of players behind. Alex not going to raise here, I don't think, with the jack deuce off. On the button, though, he might think about just calling. Nope, folds. Holly with 6-3 offsuit, folds. And Elias here with the 5-6 going to play that. Wow, and a 9 could get Elias into trouble. Of course, any 10 does have him beat. But, man, that would be a crazy. I mean, Voss is blocking a 9, but another 9 would give him 2 pair, would give Danny the nut straight, and would give Elias the bottom end of the straight. Wow. Voss leads out for 60. Bit of a nice little semi-bluff here. Elias is not going to call there. Could have many outs dead. And so Voss here going to protect his equity. Nice play there. Middle player for Danny. Does flop a king. No one raised pre-flop, so maybe it's good. He decides to bet with it. But no one else has a piece of the board, so I suspect that this will just go folds all the way around. Wow! Both Natalia and Voss have jacks. This is hilarious. This is incredible. We've seen this multiple times. People have the same hand. It was queens versus queens, kings versus kings in the cash game. And now we have jacks versus jacks. Voss is going to raise it. It's hilarious because if Alex knew exactly what they had, he might feel like he wants to call here. Elias getting a really nice price to come in here. He may have to turn it into a bluff. Natalia calls. Elias is just going to fold. Well, he would have picked up a gutter, but that's it. Actually, no, he has an open under. And they are both going to be shocked when they see what comes here. I wonder if Voss can recognize she doesn't have many 5. He only checks. And Natalia with jacks also checks, and they split the pot. What a funny hand. Voss has probably got to be a little bit upset. Six, 8 open ender for Alex. 4 is a little bit blocked. And he decides to check. Alex going to go for the semi bluff here. No check raise from Voss. No reason to continue here with the 10-4. Queen 8 for Elias. Oh, and Voss flops a pair of queens. I mean, sorry, a pair of 6s. Bottom pair for Natalia. And she goes ahead and makes the fold. And Voss, he is our senior here, though he is not quite an elder yet, but he's been here. He's played so many sessions with us, even though he's been taking care of a kid. I suspect that he's likely playing this session while trying to rock his kid to sleep. But he's really been improving over the last few weeks. And he had mentioned to me he was really excited to take this tournament. He wants a chance to be able to come back, to get back into that third place spot. He's trying to battle out Alex and Danny for that spot. Meanwhile, Natalia has done a good job by the time she's shown up. She's been a very break-even player across the last few sessions. And given the massive swings that we've seen happen, breaking even is not bad. It's pretty difficult to do. Danny as well has also been a little bit more passive, a little bit more break-even. Alex and Voss really trying to climb their rankings right now. Elias has had, of course, as I've said before, the best month of all of them, really profiting. I think in this month alone, he's profited something like to the tune of 10,000. So making the winning this tournament here would be more of a statement than anything. Really nothing else for him to do in terms of just hold tight at the top of this month's leaderboard. However, he is the short stack, and he could bust pretty soon depending on how many big blinds start to be left. We'll have to see if any of the big stacks get involved here. That's with the gutter. Voss does not call. Deuce 9 for Natalia, nothing to do. 10, Queen 10 for Danny on the button. He decides to fold it. Wow. I would have expected a raise from the button. Instead, he decides to fold. 5-6 suited Elias also decides to fold. In this tournament format, a lot of hands are going to get it in pre-flop, so may not be looking to do that with 5-6 suited. Ace-8 suited by Voss. He goes for that min raise on the button. And Voss's min raise, while it doesn't look very strong, 3-7 has trouble continuing. Same thing with Natalia. Voss will take it down. And at this point, I mean, a lot of this is just, if you don't see a flop, the hands are going to go very, very slowly. No one's going to want to call these raises here. In a cash game, you would see a lot more action. Ace-Jack also gets the job done for Voss. 6-7 suited here. We'll see if he decides to raise this one as well. I don't think this one is going to get through, though. He does decide to raise it, but Natalia's got 8-3 suited. Elias has 4s, can flop a set, and Danny will probably come behind in the big blind. That is what's going to happen here. Elias decided not to go for a jam because he's got multiple players in here. And it's not going to quite pay off, but he does have a gutter ball. Natalia with back doors to the diamonds. She also has middle pair. Voss actually flops top pair, which is really interesting here. Danny with nothing, just checks it over. This actually could cost Elias a good chunk of his stack right here. He may not be expecting Voss to show up with a 6 here that often. Probably does just have to call here, unless he decides to jam. Queen 8 calls as well. Oh, that is a gin card. Hello. And he's protected. There's no 5 out there. No one has a 5. Danny does now have a flush draw. Voss with top pair still decides to bet this. Natalia still decides to call. Elias probably wondering if any of these people have a 5. Probably can't imagine it. He just decides to call as well. Queen would have come for Danny. I wonder if Elias is going to go for a value bet here. Be a very impressive value bet to put on Voss. Voss would have a very difficult time interpreting this. What 5s does Elias have? And nope, it's just a check. And Elias will take it down. Probably a surprise he showed up with 6-7 there. But he gets back into it. No raise from Danny. And no one flops anything. Makes a straight on the end, but no call by Voss. Interpreting that large value bet as strength, and Danny is not going to get paid off with his straight there. 6 deuce suited for Danny, no call. Voss with the 5-7 suited, going to be out of position against Alex. He does raise it. Alex probably just going to fly here. See if he comes in with a 3-bet. Wow, and he folds. I'm very surprised at that fold. They've got deep enough stacks. They should be playing in position. Jack-7 suited for Danny. It's a pretty hand, but not really a good hand to be playing here. Makes a disciplined fold. Voss goes ahead with the open raise. Alex got King-Jack in the small blind. He might want to 3-bet this. If he 3-bets this, I could see a 4-bet jam. Wow, and he folds the King-Jack. And Alex with another tight fold doesn't want to play out of position here. Danny folds the King-10. A lot of them playing very positional poker, and I actually kind of like that fold with the King-10 there. Really nothing to risk here. He already has 2K. Alex on the button is going to be making lots of 3-bets. He's going to have to call them off a lot. Oh, this is, wow, and now an interesting flop here. Voss with a flush draw and a pair. Alex with the Jack of clubs is going to call. And Voss actually picked up equity. Let's see if he decides to barrel or if he decides to check. I like a check more here. I don't see Alex having too many kings, though, so he might want to put pressure, get him off a hand. See if Alex is going to stick around or if he's going to put in a bluff. Does find the fold. Really nothing to call on except to hit a club. And bit interesting, we see Alex decide to limp with the Queen-4 suited. So then Natalia calls from the button. That brings Elias in the small blind with the 9-6 offsuit. And Danny decides to just check it with the ace-deuce. Just bottom pair for Danny. Alex thinking about a bluff. He decides to check this. Natalia also checks this. Now we have an open ender for Elias. Alex is blocking one of his outs with the queen. He might feel that he can draw to a 9. Alex decides to flat here with the Queen-6. Seems a little bit off. Does flop bottom pair. Voss does have the 10 of diamonds, though. I don't think he wants to fold just yet. Now he's got middle pair. Now he's definitely not folding. Alex does not raise pre-flop. We'll see if Voss goes for a thin value bet here. Be really hard to get called, though. Alex maybe going to turn his hand into a bluff. He does. Wonder if Voss is going to find a nice call here. You know, he folds, and Alex, with good pressure, pushes Voss off that hand. That would have been the chance to pick up a nice pot here. The blinds are going to increase in another minute or so. Aces for Alex again. In the button. Gonna raise it up. Elias with King Jack. Elias might be interpret that sizing as something fishy. He just flats. Elias might get away here. Alex might have given something away by putting in 50 there. And Elias with a good fold. Wow, and I think Alex could have gotten paid off there. Elias takes it down with ace-king. Queen 9 suited for Alex. This is still not really that strong of a hand here, but he will flat it. Blinds are going up now. Faster and faster they're going up. Given the relative stack sizes, we're not going to see tons of knockouts very soon. Top pair for Danny. Voss continuation bets with the flush draw. Danny's not going to fold here. Oh, wow. He does decide to fold top pair. That's an interesting fold. Well, spade could have come. I'm surprised Danny folded, but looks like it ended up being okay for him. He's still got a decent chip stack. It was a big bet. Top pair for Voss here. Elias to raise pre. Oh. Elias really can't fold here. He's got ace high. Elias might not want to give this up just yet. He's got just ace high. And a big raise. That is going to put Voss into the blend here. And Voss, too, now is looking at being the short stack. Wow. And a big bluff for Elias. Wow. And that's going to keep his tournament hopes alive. Wow. That is an impressive bluff, but Voss not looking like he had the clubs to Elias, so he puts in the raise. What a terrifying spot to be in for Voss. And now Elias is in third in chips, and Voss is now the short stack. Difficult spot to be in. Alex going to use that stack to bully some of the other smaller stacks out of the way. He's still got a nice little chip lead. Having chips makes chips, especially in tournament poker. So Alex is really just sitting here. And he'll be surprised if he doesn't make it to the final two. Ace 9 suited for Alex. This is a hand to raise, I think. No, he just decides to flat. A flat from Natalia. And Voss is 7s here. He might just check it here, looking for a set. We'll see if he raises it here, though, into two other players. Alex calls. Natalia is probably going to call as well with the 2 5s. He does flat. Natalia with the 5-5 also flats. Oh, wow. And Alex flops the best of it with middle pair, though. He might not know it's the best. If Voss continuation bets, I guess he has to call. No, he checks. Let's see if Alex decides to play this one. He does play it a little aggressively. Bets 1/4 pot. A call from Natalia. And Voss decides to fold the 7s. It's 440 in there. What? And Alex just open mucks it and gives a pot to Natalia. What a mess up. Well, I have also joining us here on the Zoom call, Sarah, who was the first one out of our tournament in a brutal house versus house situation. 6s full of 8s versus 6s full of 10s. Trips for Elias. Voss folds the ace-4 very nicely. Ace Jack versus Ace 10 versus deuces. Oh, and Voss folds. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised at the fold. Would have still been best here. King Jack suited for Voss. Ace-5 suited for Danny. And he decides to fold. Danny has been playing awfully tight here, but it's worked out. I mean, he still has the second largest stack. King 10 for Alex. Wow, and she flops a flush with a straight flush draw. I mean, he flops a flush with a straight flush draw. My bad. I completely missed it. Wow. I don't think Alex can continue here. He does not. And Danny flopped the flush there. Ten-8 suited for Elias. And goes for the raise early. Voss with ace-jack suited. Comes in with a small 3-bet. I don't understand why he's giving Elias the price to call here. I think he should just be jamming it. Oh my goodness. Wow. This is going to be pain. This is going to be pain. A jack here would murder Elias's chances. And I think Elias is going to, I don't know what he's going to do. This looks awfully like an ace. Elias has a draw, but how good is it? Could already be drawing dead. Got bet into on the flop. He had great equity. Now, what does he do? This is a big spot for Elias. He's still got 1,500 trips left, but there's 765 in the pot already. He's only got 2 pots. Wow, and a big fold from Elias. A very impressive fold. That's a very nice fold by Elias, actually. And the story of today has been good, tight play. And as you can see, despite the fact that you might see hands that may look awfully tight, what it allows is for opponents to, number one, put pressure on each other, but number two, also avoid some of these tough spots. And Elias avoided a very tough spot. If a jack or a club came on the river, he may not have gotten his money's worth. He may have just busted. Top pair for Danny. Oh, and a 10 would have been brutal. Would have given Danny 2 pair and Moss straight, but that did not happen. Alex with ace king, another good hand for him. He's gotten a lot of good hands. And let me welcome to the mic Sarah. Sarah, as I said earlier, she did end up having the first bust of this tournament, but it was in a really tough hand, probably the biggest hand we've seen all night. 6s full of 8s. Sarah, welcome. How are you?
Tired.
Tired, yes.
Yeah, power outage and trying to figure out what was happening while playing was quite difficult.
Wow, and we have Elias just river to straight. And we have this another big pot potentially brewing. Elias does have the absolute best hand possible here, 10-9. He bets 80. I mean, Alex is just going to call. I don't think Alex can go for a raise. And Elias trying to induce a re-raise from Alex. Very interesting spot. But yes, you have mentioned to me that you actually had not played poker for a bit of a while before you joined us here at our poker league.
Yeah, approximately 2 years or so.
Well, thank you for coming, and I thought you had a pretty good showing. I mean, typically we play larger tournaments with like 9-10 people. We also play cash games where we have, we've had 12 different people kind of just rotate in and out a lot. So the people who are sitting here are some of our stronger players. So it's cool to see you kind of mix it up, generate some action, and kind of hold your own. Obviously an unlucky way to go out. I was curious if you took some time before calling with the ace-8 there. I was curious if you were contemplating folding at all.
I was.
Yeah, what did you think he had? Do you think he had like an overpair, or you think he had that last 6 for quads?
Honestly, I have no idea. When I raised, I was hoping he thought I had more than I did. Obviously.
So facing that raise was not fun.
I guess I was. I mean, it wasn't really a bluff because I did have something.
Yep, that's true.
But essentially, once that last card turned over, it turned into something even better. And then I was contemplating you know, the probability of what he had.
Yeah, I mean, after you raise him and then he shoves, his hand looks awfully strong. It's so hard because
It looks awfully
Yeah.
strong, but also it's like, is he just trying to bluff?
absolutely, and it was weird because I had mentioned while the hand was going on that Alex had just called pre-flop. He hadn't raised. He hadn't made an indication that he had like a super strong hand pre-flop. So I thought it was just a tough spot for you. I didn't think that there was necessarily a way you can. It's hard to get away from it at the end, at least without playing with Alex before and knowing his tendencies.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I don't know any of these people. I don't know if they tend to bluff a lot. I don't know if they tend to really go all in or any of that.
Yeah, that's fair. I tend to think of Alex as he can bluff, but generally when he shoves, he's got a strong hand. And we're about to see some strong hands go to war. Tens versus sixes. Voss raises. Alex just flats, and oh boy, Voss flops a set of sixes. Alex with basically second pair here. That king can't scare him too much.
Three of a kind, though.
Yes, he does have sixes. Alex probably, wow, and he folds the tens there. That's a good fold. Voss does not like to double barrel bluff a lot, so he decides to just flat the tens pre-flop and decides not to get it in there. Deuces for Alex here, and he's had a lot of great hands. Alex obviously has a decent stack, but he's gotten a lot of really good hand. He's had aces multiple times. He had like ace king. It kind of goes to show, you know, in these sessions where there's only one buy-in, there's nothing to do but, you know, hope you get good hands and play well with the hands that you do get. So Voss with the raise with the 10-3 suited. A lot of folding has been going on, so Voss starting to get a little bit out of line here with these pre-flop raises. And Alex senses something and goes for another raise, the 3-bet with the 9-6 offsuit. And ladies and gentlemen, you know he's just doing it for the memes. Alex loves to mix in bluffs with this hand. And he's probably going to show the table, I think. He probably did, just for a laugh. And that's the power of position. When you have that position, when you have that big stack, it allows you to do so much with it. Queen Jack suited for Danny. Oh, out flops Elias here. And a queen would be brutal, but Elias goes ahead and checks it over to Danny. Elias never folding here. Wow, and he might want to barrel on this card. Elias getting an awfully good price to draw. And trips for Danny, he's never folding. And Elias with king, queen. Probably has nothing else to do but fold. I wonder if he's contemplating a raise here, which would not be great. Very tough price he's getting. And a good fold by Elias. Danny collects a nice pot. Kings for Alex. He's had so many good hands. And he's doing such a weird sizing when he decides to raise it like this to 84. He did this with aces last time, and Elias got away. Wow, and Elias instantly folds the queen 10 suited. Alex with a timing tell there. Oh, but he would have flopped it. He would have flopped a flush, and he would have been dead because another diamond would have come, and Alex has the king of diamonds. That's hilarious. Alex just calls here. Voss, is he going to go for value? This could be a dangerous spot. And Alex is just, he's going to raise here. And Voss is in a tough spot. I mean, Voss just has to fold here. I don't think that he can call. It's 280 into 868, but he's only got the 8 of diamonds, and he's put himself into a terrible spot by betting. Good disciplined fold from Voss there, but man, that's a tough spot there. Alex being smart, playing the overpair on the monotone board with the overcard to a better flush. Checks it, and he gets some value there. Multiple streets. So Sarah, you had mentioned to me that while you had played some poker, you actually are a big fan of other card games, and I was curious, or if there are any other card games or board games that you tend to favor Our league isn't just a poker league, though that's what we primarily have kind of built our games off of. But I was curious as if there were some other maybe board games or other tabletop games that you could talk to me about.
Yeah, I mean, often I like strategy games. There's one called Phase 10. I don't know if you know that one.
I do not. I'm pretty familiar
Um,
with a lot of board games, but I'll have to look at
It's a card game.
Okay.
Phase 10 is a card game. It's, I guess, a little bit like poker, but not really. You're essentially trying to collect certain types of hands,
Okay.
and you're trying to do that as fast as possible. And I mean, you'll obviously only have a certain number of cards in your hand, and you have to, you know, pick a card, or there's one face up card, one face down card. You have to choose between them, and then whatever you take, you have to put one down. So it's a lot of decision making and a lot of changing plans.
Okay, that's interesting. I will look at that one. Is that your game of choice right now?
I also like there's a dice game. I think I've shown it to you.
Dice
The
game.
one with the 2 white dice and 4 colorful ones.
I cannot recall that game. I cannot recall the name of that. Could you enlighten me again to this dice game?
Yeah, so you essentially have like a little piece of paper, and you can also only cross off the numbers from left to right, and only for certain colors of what the color dice is. And so you're trying to essentially cross off as many numbers that you roll. You can only go left
Okay.
to right without skipping too many.
Okay. That is pretty interesting. Do you know the name of it?
I have it. I can get it real quick.
Natalia with King Jack here. Gonna face a raise here from Voss. He's got Ace King offsuit. And if
Yeah,
a
that-
king happens, it's gonna get in. Go ahead. Tell me the name of that game.
That's called Quix. Quixx.
Okay, Quicks. Got it. No one flops anything here, though. Danny would have actually flopped the best hand with just 6-3. And he barrels on this card. Natalia with King Jack decides to continue. Now she has multiple outs. She can hit any queen or any jack. She does not find it. Let's see if Natalia decides to bluff at it. She does not. And Voss is going to pick up a nice size pot here with just ace high. And as these big blinds gets bigger and bigger, we're starting to see more and more chips go into the middle. Wow, and Voss flats from the small blind. With middle pair, he might be willing to get in here, and he bets it out. Elias is not going to tangle with him. 9-5 offsuit folds. So you mentioned Quicks now to me. You've mentioned Phase 10 to me. That's a card game, that's a dice game. Do you tend to prefer like non-traditional board games? Is Sarah still there?
Yes, I'm here. I was muted. Sorry.
Yes, no problem.
I guess usually it's something different, you know. It's not just rolling a dice and moving a figure on a board.
Mm-hmm.
It's more thinking. It's not just, oh, well, I go wherever this lands.
Yeah, so you mentioned you like a lot of strategy games. Obviously, a lot of people would say there's strategy in a game like Settlers of Catan, right? That's kind of a cult classic. But
Yeah.
I myself, while it can be a fun to play, I don't like playing it over and over again. I feel like oftentimes it can be a little bit
It gets
routine.
repetitive.
Yes, I agree. And
I
I've-
have the card version of it for 2 players.
Mhm.
Don't know if you know that version.
I do not know the card version.
Yeah, there's a card version for 2 players, and I mean, you know, same thing, resources, and you're trying to build up villages and roads.
Mhm. Okay, that makes sense.
And then you're trying to get a certain number of like flag points, which certain either buildings have, or if you upgrade like a village to a city, instead of 1 point, it has 2. And after I think 13 or so, you win the game. So you're just trying to do that faster than the other person.
Okay, that makes sense. As I said, I tend not to favor games that oftentimes, are very overplayed. I like a lot of the games which a bit newer, a lot of the games with very interesting mechanics, right? For example, I don't know if you played a game called Evolution.
I don't believe so, but I might have heard of it. I also have a bunch of games saved actually, like just their names.
Oh, Voss flopped the house A6. I don't think Natalia is going to be able to fold if a king comes on the river, but I don't think she's going to call with Jack 10. Oh, she does call. She doesn't want Voss to bully her around. And Voss, I just don't see it. Natalia does call all the way down with Jack high, just Jack high. Voss gets paid off with his boat. Wow. Sorry, go ahead. Wild
No,
action
you're
here at the
good. That
poker
was
table.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, as I said, we face a lot of tough competition. I think now Voss might want to play with this. No, Natalia's got an ace here, and she's just got to get value, or she's going to be out of this tournament way too soon. She's down to just 11 big blinds behind. Wow, Voss has a pair and a flush draw. There are so many outs. It does not come for him. Natalia with 3 aces. How many boats does Voss have here? I don't think he has that many. So she does shove. And I just don't think Voss can call. Yeah, Natalia's just not going to be bluffing that often. We're starting to pick up hands here. Elias raises with king 10 of clubs. Folds here. Folds from Alex. And Natalia with ace 3 suited. No one flops anything. It's about who's willing to take the aggressive line. It won't be Elias. Is Danny going to find a bluff with probably the worst hand here? At least Natalia has the gutter to the 5. Straight draw and an over. Danny just checks. Is Natalia going to get aggressive? She does not. They're all shy. There's a cake in the middle, but they won't cut it. Danny, go for it, Danny. Let's see someone bluff at this pot. Wow. Natalia is actually going to take this down. Elias will not bluff at it. He's going to take his showdown with king high. And Natalia will collect chips. That is a big help to her. Oh, and 7s versus 9s. Natalia does not like to play many hands very strong pre-flop. Would not be surprised if we just see a flat here. Voss is going to raise his 7s. Just to fold, Alex, with an ace. 3-4 suited, now getting a nice price to call. And he does make a nice disciplined fold. A set for Natalia. If a 7 comes, she's just doubling up through Voss. There's nothing to do. So Voss going to find a really tight fold. Does not. He has a straight draw now. And another call. And he does hit a straight. What a brutal card for Natalia. Wow, runner straight, and just not enough chips went into the middle. And she shoves and an insta call. And oh my goodness. Natalia went for it and just finds her hull snapped off by Voss with a straight. And brutal hand for Natalia. GG's to Natalia. A tough spot. Tough way to go out. Tough way to go out. And there's really, I understand what she was trying to do, but probably never expecting that he shows up with 7-7 there. That's why you have to bet those strong hands, clear out some of the junk hands that can catch up. Wow. And now Voss is the chip leader. No one's going to play with Elias, the ace queen. And now 4 of our strongest players at the table, Elias, Danny, Voss, and Alex. One of them will be receiving a full buy-in into our main event. That's effectively profit of 5,000 chips. All of these are very active in our league. Voss with the chip lead. Elias and Danny the short stacks. Less than starting stack. Oh, and a flopped house for Alex. How many nutted hands has he had? Well, Sarah, you're now no longer the only one out.
Yay!
Misery loves company. Oh, kings for Danny. And Voss is king jack suited. I mean, he can't go anywhere. Wonder if he's going to 3-bet. But yeah, that's what happens with poker. I mean, wild spots all the time. Oh! He flops top pair and Danny just has kings here. I mean, yeah, Danny just has kings here. There's nothing to do about it. He raised from the button. He has a wide range. Oh, Voss folds! What? What is that fold? Voss, no! Come, give me your cards, Voss. I'll call for you. I'm looking at the cards and I wouldn't fold that. How do you find that fold? How do you find that fold? What is that? What is that fold? I'm still in shock. I mean, flop top pair. Ace jack suited for Elias. He's going to raise it. Wow, and he started to jam. That's interesting. Yep, and this is what happens when you get to these stack sizes. Only 4 players left. Elias is here to double up. He might jam here again. Yes, he does. Elias has no problem getting it in there. The other players might, and that might actually allow Elias to sneak into one of these other placings. Oh, aces for Danny. Elias folds. And Voss just flatting here. Danny's going to raise. And let's see. Voss does call, and he flops a king, but Danny flops a set of aces. And I think Voss here has a tough decision. I don't think he can go away yet. But guess what? He folded last time. He knew Danny had a better hand than he did. And he does fold. Ten deuce for Danny here. Probably not going to play it. And Sarah, I'm curious, from an outsider's perspective, just having come in with us, was there any particular player you thought was particularly strong? Was there any particular player you think is going to win this?
Honestly, I have no idea. Um, I guess I was a little bit more on almost autopilot from just what I remembered from playing 2 years ago.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, just because I think the time limit scared me a little, to be honest.
That's true. I mean, we do have, extra time to be activated
Yeah, I
necessary,
didn't
but it's
realize that until I
later. Yeah,
think way later.
for sure. Understood.
So I think sometimes, I'd make sure to, keep the game going quite speedy. And that's just something I'm not really completely used to since I
Play live,
prefer playing in person, and honestly, you talk and
Yeah.
it goes a bit slower.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that when we play online, even though, oh my goodness, Elias flops a house, Danny flops a gutter ball, Voss flops a flush draw, and Elias just has a house. I mean, this is a stone cold nuts. Oh my goodness, Voss has a flush, and Danny leads out. And Voss folds a flush. What in the world? What is going on?
He had low
here?
cards for it. He thought he had higher cards.
And Danny decides to bluff at this. And a fold. And I mean, the fact that Voss was not stacked there, that's just something else. Wow, I don't understand what Voss has been doing today. He's just been on another level with these folds. I'm in shock. That's insane. I mean, when Danny leads there, Elias flatted, but Elias hasn't even taken any action. I don't see how Voss can fold the 3-4 of diamonds. Oh. Danny picks up a pot. Elias had the equity, decides not to get it on the flop with the ace of clubs. I thought we could have seen a knockout if I was expecting a shove, but it didn't happen. That is the fold of the night for sure. Elias contemplating a shove here. And I mean, if the hands weren't going to get in when he had king 10 and flopped the nuts, and then Voss hit his flush, if it wasn't going to get in there, I don't know what's going to get Voss to surrender this lead. He does not want to go away. Voss with the deuce 7 here, folds. Okay, open ender here for Elias with the pair, and then 2 overs for Voss, and he hits his 9. Now he's got to check it over, and Elias just gonna take a show no value, and Voss no thin value bet. I still cannot believe that he folded a flush. I would never have folded a flush there. I don't know about you. I don't know how often you're willing to fold a flush there. What do you think, Sarah?
I see the decision that he was making. I think I know what he was thinking. Just because the cards he had in the flush were the lowest.
Absolutely, yeah.
So with, you know, the other person being so confident in their cards or appearing to be extremely confident in their cards, it's a little scary.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he ended up not getting it in for stacks there. We'll definitely be talking about the decision in our post-match interview. Elias will be probably very shocked to find out that Danny actually is the one who disrupted his plans to double up through Voss, because Danny decided to go with a more bluffy line there. Danny with the queen 10 suited. Calls. Check from Elias. Let's see if Danny decides to bluff. He does not. Check. Oh, and Danny does not decide to throw a bluff in at it. So ace 9 holds, and Elias gets back up, and he's rivaling Alex for the second stack here. And that's the thing. You got to be willing. You got to find a way to bust Elias early, else he'll just stick around. Raised by Alex here. An orthodox sizing. Gonna get it through. Now at this point, Danny is down to 20 big blinds. So we're gonna start seeing hands get it in real quick here. The next hand is gonna be 50, 100. And now you're gonna see these guys play super fast because they don't want to play where it's just luck. They want to let their skill do the talking. The hands are just speeding up so quickly. We're down to 4. It's going to be 60, 120 real soon. 10-7 suited for Voss. You might want to raise this one. He has 26 big blinds, but nonetheless does have the large stack. He decides to go for the fold on the button. Alex decides not to play the 10-8 offsuit. 6-3 is not a playable hand. 7-9 here on the button, no raise. Elias with the 6-5 suited might go ahead and go for the small steal. He flats. Danny's just going to check this. I don't see Danny raising this unless he interprets it as weakness. And nothing for Elias on this board. Danny with middle pair might want to go ahead and protect his 10. A 5. Elias going to take a showdown value. And we'll see if Elias goes for a thin value, but he will get called, though. I don't see Danny ever folding here. Only 2 big blinds in the pot. Check. Danny checks it back, collects 2 big blinds. Alex with the deuce 8. He's now the big stack. Him and Voss going back and forth here. With the big blind so big, anything can happen. I mean, there's no way of predicting what's going to happen at this point in the night. Voss here with the queen 4 suited. Folds. Elias collects another small pot. He might open with the king 7 here as well. He does. He's going to have to get through a lot of players. Alex is going to call with the 8-7. Both of them flop a 7. Alex decides to lead out. And Elias is in a tough spot here. Wonder if he's going to go ahead and turn this into a bluff, but I just can't imagine it. He calls. And Alex just jams here with the A7. Okay, that was interesting. Jack 7 flats. Elias with 9-3 suited. Eight three offsuit. Elias with ace king. 5-6 though. Nothing to do. Ten eight for Elias. Ace 10 for Danny. I mean, this is just a hand to get it in with 15 big blinds. He just flats. Five four suited for Voss. Folds on the button. Wow, and a shove here. Ace 9 suited. Elias back to third place. Ace queen suited for Voss. And he's going to open to 3x. Nine five for Elias and Danny. And Voss will win with just 4 high. Ace 4. Danny decides to fold it. That's a raising hand. He's got to be collecting chips. He's got to be willing to get it in there. Wow, and Alex just open folds. 10-9. 7-9 for Voss. No one's going to play. Elias just going to take it down with queens. King Jack suited. A lot of folding going on right now. And Voss decides to flat. He doesn't even decide to raise. That's not good because now Danny can really have anything. Queen 10 and ace 10. Ace comes, and that's the worst card for Voss, and he's just going to check this. Danny collects it with the ace. Ace 4, that might be a hand Elias might want to shove it with. This is pretty 15 bigs. This is kind of on the edge there with ace 4. And he does find the good shove. And Alex has the king 10, and he does not call. Oh, Jack 8 suited. King 10 for Danny. And now, I mean, lots of outs for Elias. Danny only has king high. Cannot call. Oh, and Danny with nines will not get the chance to shove. Alex with a7. Wow, and that is a hand to commit chips with. Voss does find the fold. Nothing else to do there, really. Oh, ace-3, and he's just going to get called here. But this is not the hand to shove with. He's been fold. Elias has to think that, you know what, he's been shoving a lot, and he finds the fold. This is part of the discipline of playing tournament poker. Elias knows when to get it in there, knows when to not get it in there, gets it in with the ace-4 when he has 15 big blinds. Now he's got something like 17 big blinds, and with ace-3, he decides not to get it in. Oh, and Alex did not get raised pre-flop, so he flops top pair here. And I mean, Voss is never folding. He's got ace-jack. Voss has ace-jack. I mean, he's got to be thinking that he's going to be able to call this. And Voss folds. He does not want to play at all. King, queen for Voss. Just call. Danny, I mean, Danny's pretty much, if he's not shoving, then I don't know what he's doing here, but he just checks. Voss not missing these opportunities to get it in here. No bluffs from Danny. Voss also does not bet. Danny, can he steal it? No, he just checks. And he takes down the pot. Jack 8 offsuit for Alex. He is the biggest stack. Folds around. Queen 10 suited for Elias. This might be time to go for min raise. He just flats. Wow, he's playing more of a flat line strategy here. And, well, Alex will get to see a flop with him. Oh, man. And look at this flop right here. 3 of a kind for Elias, and he's got the effective nut, so he's never going anywhere. And he's actually blocking anything good for Alex here, that straight draw. Alex just folds with the 10-5. King, queen versus ace-10 versus ace-jack. Oh my gosh, no. Oh my gosh, is this how it's going to end? Voss deciding with the ace-10. Danny does not raise much. This is an early position raise. King-queen is really the only hand he's beating. Voss is thinking. I think you have to at least call. Voss is really thinking about this. Wow. I mean, for me, I would have just shipped it all in already, gotten it all in, and hoped that, you know, ace-jack folds because my line looks so strong. There are 2 other players behind him. He's taking a long time to think about this. He's not offline. He's staring at his cards right now. And Voss folds the ace-10. And Alex, that's an instant jam. And Danny is just... What else is there to do? Can't fold the king-queen. I mean, he's got the odds to call. He should be calling here, actually. He has the odds. He should be calling even if he knows it his opponent has. But no, he decides to fold it. Don't think that's a good fold. I think Danny's just got to go in with the hoping for luck. Maybe that's the one hand he can raise and then fold. Voss folds again. And Danny is down to so few chips. I mean, he's just got to get it in there. He cannot let himself get whittled. He has to at least give himself a fighting chance. King 9 is going to be that raise size for him. Voss will fold the deuce 3. King Jack, another hand to raise for Elias. Is he going to put it in? He does decide to put it in for all these chips. He's just picking up blinds. And man, now Elias with this big stack kind of running over the table here. Oh boy, we could see some very dangerous flops for these players. And instead, Alex decides to fold it. Elias has been aggressive. Doesn't seem like the type of player you want to play against right now. Voss flats with the king 5. Alex with the 10s. Going to raise it up. He also shoves. Good shove here. Danny has to call it off. He's got enough equity. He is going to call it off. And Voss cannot call it off. And so now we're going to see an all-in. Voss is blocking a king. He does have tons of out, 36%. He hits a king. Wow. As I was about to type GG's, Danny finds a hand. He spikes it. There were only 2 kings left. 36% for Danny on the turn. Ace 3 shoves. Voss not going to call with the 8-9. Elias picking up strong chips. Deuce 6 going to fold. Danny's got queen jack suited. He has a playable hand. Voss has ace 9, decides not to call. Alex checks. Oh, and he flops 2 pair. But he might not get any action. Wow, and he just shoves on it. Just an open shove does not allow his opponents to catch up. Wow, and this actually could be a bad spot here. Alex decides to collect the chips, but he misses out on potentially stacking an opponent if another card comes. Any ace, queen, jack, or 9 might have given his opponents a chance to stack off against him. Elias just collecting chips. His disciplined play has paid off. And Voss now with the ace jack. I mean, this is the hand to go to war with. There are so many chips ready to go. Yep. And Alex with king 10. This is a funky race size to play against. I wonder if Danny's thinking of getting it all in here. Nope, he decides to fold. An ace jack for Elias. And this is another shove hand. Well, he's playing deep enough. That's good enough for him. This hand is not good enough for Voss, I don't think. Elias builds that stack with shoves. Voss is queen 8 suited, and this is a hand that he might want to raise here. We could see it get all in on the queen. It does not get on. A jack here would be pretty nasty. A jack or an 8 is what Voss needs. A queen would be bloodshed. Oh, and this is a tough decision for Alex. A bet here with the gut shot. Nice bluff. Alex might not want to call here with the 4, but I think that he has enough equity to continue. Does not continue. A lot of folds here from this crowd. King 6 suited. sixes.
What happened? Did it crash?
I think so.
When did this happen?
Half a minute ago.
Okay, cool. Nate will probably log back on.
Yeah,
I bet his computer, what's it called? I bet his battery died.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
Yeah.
Like I turn it on and it says like 30% or something,
Nice.
but that's not actually correct. And then like 5 seconds later, it turns off.
Oh man. That's fun. It's always fun to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, those of you who are watching on the stream, I guess we'll just wait for Nate to come back. But let me text him. Nate, you are back. All right, welcome back, everybody.
Sorry about that. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We had some issues off stream, and we actually missed a shove there. Elias got it all in with Alex, and he ended up losing that pot. Alex picked up a nice sizable pot. Danny got it in as well. We'll go over some of the hand history here shortly. As you can see, we have this hand here where actually Elias got it all in with Ace King versus 10-9, and Alex river to 10 on him to collect a big pot. And that's why Alex right now is the big stack. So unfortunate turn of events. Alex is now the commanding chip leader. I apologize for the technical delay. We had some issues here. But anyway. Jack 8 suited versus 8-9. Elias has had a lot of pressure put on him today. He's made the right decisions every time. He's made every single decision correctly. Unfortunately, it just has not gone his way. King, queen for Alex. And Elias needs to find a double up here through Alex or he's gone. So many outs for Elias. Any ace, any spade. And a spade does come on the river. And Elias getting a little bit back. And so we're kind of back to where we started, except Alex has a big stack now. The rivers have been coming. Alex with the proper reaction. We still have not seen a knockout. Voss with ace-4 suited. This is just a jam. Alex is not going to call. He might even have equity too against pretty much any holdings that Voss has, but nonetheless, doesn't want to get in there. This is a good shove by Alex. Alex finds the shove. Elias does not call. And I mean, Elias has nothing else to do here but shove or call. Wow, and Danny folds the king 10. That must have been a misclick. And well, Elias is just going to get pretty lucky that he didn't get doubled up through there. And that's going to change the tournament standings a lot because now, yeah, Elias is going to win the main pot here. Danny is drawing dead. He's drawing to 2 10s. And GG for Danny. He decides not to call the shove off. And earlier there was a shove he should have called off and he would have gotten it in really good. And now Elias is back to being the chip leader. And ladies and gentlemen, the question is whether or not one of these big stacks will bust. This is a big match now. Voss tried to hold on. Does not decide to shove with the 7-8. I mean, they really don't have that many big blinds. It is shocking how this has not gone in earlier. And here we go. A shove and 9-5 should be calling in. I mean, oh, and he folds. That's just not the fold to make. Voss is going to go out with a whimper here. Going to hope for a double up. King 10. Still in the lead, but a king or a 10 could come. A king of 10 was not folded. 14%. And it does come. GG's to Voss. And another river for Alex. And now they're just playing this stack here. I mean, anything can happen. It's a 6,500 heads up match now. Oh, and a fold with the ace deuce is shocking. Why is going to similarly fold with the 6-9? Shove with the queen 5 suited. Elias wants to get it in with a better hand. He's going to collect chips nicely there. Oh, no shove by Alex there. Ho, ho, ho. 2 jacks. What is he contemplating? That's just a shove. Yep. Nothing else to do. Took some time with it. Definitely not going to be called. This one is very on the line. 4,400. Elias decides it's not worth it. He shoves, and Alex should call here. And if he does, he will be a dominating favorite. He does find the call. They're chopping a decent percentage of the time, but it's over a lot of the time. No! And he somehow finds a way to be in the lead. They're chopping so many hands. Wow, they chop it. Alex in the lead, then a flush draw comes. Must be so relieved to just find a chop, but he was in the lead. Wow, what an outcome. Absolutely shocking outcome. Now Elias, ever so slightly here in the lead. And he cannot call this off. Just not enough equity. There's a, wow, he flats. And he tries to induce. And he's got effectively the nuts. There's nothing else to do. Such an odd spot to be in. Alex gotta know something is up. He's got to feel there's something up here. And down to Rivers' house. And he goes for a small bet. And Alex gotta know something's up. This is not right. Alex with the 7-9 suited. They've only got 4 big blinds, folks. Are we going to see the tournament come to an end right here? Is it going to get all in? Oh, and he calls! How does he call with a 10-7 off? Wow, and 10 high is in the lead. Oh, he doesn't have any out but a 9. It doesn't come. Elias wins. Wow. With the 10 high, he calls it off. Ridiculous. GG's. Elias wins with just 10 high, calling it off here. I don't understand some of the decisions that were made. Extraordinarily tight play, but extraordinarily good play from so many players. Congratulations to Elias. And he just holds. And that's the story of today. Elias collecting all the chips in the middle. He will win the lion's share. He has up to 6,500, winning the 5K buy-in into the main event. And ladies and gentlemen, Alex will not be going home with nothing. He will have recouped his buy-in. Everybody else, they will be going home with nothing. Congratulations to Elias. Elias, could I get you on interview here? Elias, thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Elias, how were the swings of that tournament right there? That was a
pretty well. I mean, I spent most of the tournament down. I think I always think I was the lowest stack or the second lowest stack for a majority of it.
Yep.
And then I forgot how I climbed my way back into it.
Well, you were basically putting a lot of shoves in, putting a lot of pressure, and you collected a lot of blinds.
A lot of blinding. I thought I had it wrapped up with the ace king hand, and because Alex shoved into me, and I was like, oh, he's got to have like ace x something. I thought I was dominating him. And then 10-9 suited, and then he had the flush draw, and then he hit the river, which is fine. And then
you were down, I thought, and then I thought you were going to lose one of the other hands.
I got pretty fortunate because I made some folds in kind of marginal spots, and then picked up good hands the next hand, which allowed me to basically shove and make the blind stack that I lost from the marginal decision.
There were a couple really marginal spots where like you had the ace 4 suited and you shoved and everyone folded, and then one of the next hands you had ace 3 suited. Or ace 3 offsuit.
I thought it was ace 4 suited
and then ace 3
offsuit.
And you did not shove with more big blinds. And actually Voss had ace jack behind you and would have definitely snapped you off. So it's a good spot to avoid getting snapped off there.
I think someone had folded behind me when I had the ace four suited, and then I was under the gun for the ace three offsuit.
Yes. So difference in position
So
there.
just a
Difference of
little
shove.
bit of difference. I think when one person folds behind you, it makes it much easier to go for it.
Absolutely. The most interesting spot in the session, actually, you ended up flopping a boat. You had king 10, and Danny led into you on the turn, which was the 8 of diamonds when a flush came in. He did not have a flush. Voss did, and he folded
Voss tanked and folded a
3-4 of diamonds.
after I only flat. I
And-
should have gotten all the
And
chips.
absolutely,
How did
I
I
thought
not
he
get
was
all
going
the
to
chips?
lose all of it right there.
Wait,
But
what flush did he have?
he had 3-4 of diamonds, and it was king 10 8 of diamonds.
How
But
do
he
you-
flopped the king.
How do you fold a flush there? I mean, Danny's lead is like only maybe king X and like
Other
aces?
diamonds, maybe. It was a tough spot. Anyway, that was the spot I thought that it should have gotten all in. The other spot was Danny raised with king queen. He min raised, and then somehow Voss folded ace 10, and then right behind him, Alex jammed with ace jack, and then Danny folded, which was really interesting.
Danny folded
King, queen.
queen.
King queen suited.
Wow.
So there were a lot of folds going
Wow.
on tonight. Some of them great, some of them not so great.
I'm impressed.
But I noticed that there was not a lot of shoving going on. And right there at the end, I was so surprised we actually got to the 500,000 big blind. We were talking 3-4 big blinds. Most tournaments wrap up way earlier than that. So you had to kind of go through the roller coaster right at the
it
end.
made it so weird because I had to legitimately. I think I folded 10-7, the same 10-7, like similar 10-7 hand earlier.
Well, I thought it was a crazy call to make. I was shocked you made the call, but it was a good call to make. The other hand that I thought was really interesting was the king 7.
because Alex was shoving more often in the small blind, which is the play to make.
Yeah.
But I knew that he couldn't have better hands all the time, and I figured that at worst, right, I'm up against a pocket pair, but if I'm up against like ace 10, ace jack, like dominating hands, I'm actually not doing terribly because I have my own lane. It's only if he shows up with like a face card in a 10 or a face card in a 10 that I'm really, really in dire shape.
Absolutely. The other hand here, obviously, he sucked out on you with the ace king versus 10-9, and you ended up not necessarily sucking out, but you got one of the favorable.
7 suit. Yeah, when the flush shot hit, I think it was a favorite. I think it was like a 50% favorite.
Absolutely, you were actually 66%.
And then obviously we were chopping a bunch of this is what ended up happening.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it could have gone either way. Alex
sure.
played pretty well at the beginning. He was running it up.
I thought it was really interesting. You just had no chips here, and then you find the way to kind of fight your way back. The other hand I thought was really interesting. You had ace queen, and you tried to trap him here with, right here.
Yes, I think was I in the big blind again?
You were in the small blind,
I was in the
actually.
small
You
blind.
flatted, and you tried to get
I
him
was
to
trying
jam
to
into
induce
him.
a jam.
But he did not bite, which was, I thought, good, because last
Yeah.
time he jammed on you, he basically went from chip stack leader with Jack 10 to you had aces full in that hand. That was a tough hand for him to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, tough hand for him to stomach. So he ended up playing well. He recouped his buy-in. That's more than I can say for the other players. But I thought we actually saw, aside from the fact we didn't see enough jams, which I thought was really your calling card and allowed you some buffer there when you do get sucked out on. I thought that everyone, they seem to fold well. They seem to understand the spots. Pretty tight play all around.
Yeah, I think the fact that this tournament lasted longer than the last couple of others, I think shows that people's tournament play has evolved.
Yeah, in terms of hands with 6 players, I thought it was interesting because the blind structure of this tournament was meant to go up, and it did. It really did go up. And we just played the majority of the tournament actually kind of happened right here in the latter portions of the tournament. I was just so surprised that there were jams going in beforehand. You were the only one really jamming, collecting those blinds. No one was really willing to get it in, even though the play is to just go for the win. But you can see there's really no value in picking up 3rd or 4th place.
Yeah, I mean,
You double
I
up.
think I started jamming when I hit about 20 bigs.
Absolutely, and that's the
So-
play to make. And apparently it worked. The only other thing is now that you know that you're jamming with a wide range, they're only going to call nutted hands.
Do you have to play that differently, or do you still go with that strategy of being
No,
willing
it's
to be
still the right
aggressive?
strat. I mean,
Picking up the blinds is worth it?
yeah, maybe reduce the number of blinds that you start jamming with.
Maybe reduce
From
the
like 20
ace,
to like
low
18.
ace X, because you don't want to get sucked out on dealing with dominated aces.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't think I ended up jamming with a lot of. I didn't end up jamming with big chips, with more chips than like 5 big blinds at the end.
Oh,
With like
absolutely,
actual
yeah.
premiums. So it's one of those things that when I do pick them up, if I get called later, right, that's happening, right?
Absolutely, and I thought it was really interesting. You and Alex were not using much of your time bank. Alex was not really using time bank at all. He was just instant decision making. But Voss had made some really good decisions, including, and we're gonna look over that when we go to the video. But that was a really difficult spot there for Voss, and he ended up folding using the time
folded
bank.
a turn flush after I flopped a bow. I mean, that's just so. Especially when I wasn't the one giving action
No.
on the hand, it's just so wild.
Well, 2 other players, it's hard for Danny to be bluffing, and if he's not bluffing, then you've got hand.
I mean, he had a significant. He said like 15 bigs behind or something like that, right?
You did.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where I'm surprised he just doesn't go in there.
Yep.
So I'd love to get him on a call. We're gonna have to close up for the night though. So thank you, Elias. Congratulations. We'll see you at the main event.
I mean, I was going to be at the main event anyway.
Well, you've won now 2 tournaments. Would you consider yourself your favorite to win the main event now?
Oh, I mean, I don't really consider myself a favorite, but I mean, I think my tournament strategy has worked out pretty well. I've won 2 of the 3 tournaments that I participated in. Actually, I think maybe both tournaments I participated in this league. Though I
yes,
think
you've
we
both-
did have a tournament in the prior iteration
Absolutely.
that you won.
I did win that tournament.
So I made it to second. So every tournament I've been in, I made it to the last 2.
Which is very impressive. Obviously, it's hard. I mean, there were certainly spots there where you could have busted out, but it just didn't end up happening.
I thought it was gonna bust. I didn't think I was gonna make it to cash after I lost the ace king hand.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else did too. But you ended up winning the whole thing. Aggressive strategy paid off, and yeah, you're here. So GG's to you, GG's to Alex. I'm sure Alex will be just bemoaning the luck of the cards there.
Yeah.
Hopefully he picks up some strategy and shows up. But overall, I thought the competition was better this tournament. I thought we saw actually decent play early on.
Yeah, I think it was very engaging. Fortunately, I did not flop aces full in this tournament.
No aces full.
And then trap it to get max value.
I thought, well, another interesting spot was where Alex flatted 10s pre, and then he got it all in later. 6s full of 10s against Sarah
On the set.
No, he didn't turn
Oh,
six.
no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah. That was an interesting spot. I thought the flat 10s from.
Oh,
100%
actually, now that I
pre.
think about it, there is one hand that I was very curious about, which
Oh.
was the board was double paired with an 8 and a full 8s and 4s. I had 8-4, and the action was bewildering to me because I had the nuts. I had folded pre, obviously, but I don't know what people were getting it in with.
So Sarah had actually raised the bet of 84 to 204, with 5-5, right? And Danny had a flush, and I thought this was an excellent bluff for Sarah to make, and I think she knew he was bluffing. I talked to her a little later about it, but Danny actually jammed on her with the flush. Did not believe she had the 8 or the 4.
I was so
And
bewildered because I had the
that's-
nuts, and I was
That's
like, "What are
pretty
people doing?"
insane.
The only thing that makes sense is that someone has like the last 8 in the deck, and I'm like, okay, I guess so.
Yeah, but I was so surprised. But I thought Sarah did know the spot that she was in. That 5 was probably behind, but it's a good spot to turn into a bluff there. And it just didn't work out. And she
Yeah, I think
obviously folded.
5 is getting value when from like ace high that doesn't believe a lot of the time, but
Yeah, I guess. But I thought it was a good raise.
and there's fold equity from flushes, and
Flushes,
straights,
exactly.
obviously,
So that was so interesting.
yeah, it's very good.
But anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. You'll get to see the live coverage on this on YouTube. Sorry that we had those technical difficulties for about a minute and a half in the middle there. But obviously, no one busted during that time. Elias ended up recovering from that ace king hand, and we're back to kind of where we started. Elias, probably the favorite to win, won this one. We'll see how he does in the main event. We'll see you in December, though. We will have a bounty hunter event. We'll have a bounty tournament coming up next month for you guys. Everyone, take care. Good to see you. God bless. Have fun playing poker. Come join us when you want.